It's an open door season. Come on through.
Hi, welcome to Transitional News, where we review current events through a prophetic lens. I'm Sherry Erb.
And I am Mary Beth McElroy. Well, since we look through a prophetic lens, I was coming in for this recording. And as I was coming in, I was thinking about things I wanted to share with Sherry. And as I was coming through the door, I thought the door was opened. However, that particular door was closed, but I didn't recognize the door. And so I went on past to go through the door, and it was literally a glass. Now that sounds like what? When we're saying it's time to come through the open door. But when you look through a prophetic lens, what I realized was that the door that is the door that was closed had panes in it. It was a division. But I was looking for the clear way, the pathway. And I found it because when I went out to look again, it definitely looked like an opening. So I'm telling you today, Sherry, this is the day and this is the time of open doors. Lots of them.
This is an open door season.
Yeah, it's the open door season. Get ready.
It was pretty funny. So I was standing there, all of a sudden, kaboom, she ends up with a glass. Anyway, we had a good laugh about it, but it was a prophetic message, right?
Absolutely.
And so we want to encourage you. There is so much going on in our world, as we all know, and you can get really overwhelmed, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's our own nation, right? We've got all the election, the midterms coming up on the federal side. You've
Yes.
got here in Oklahoma, the later this month, we've got primaries that are coming in for the various parties, and everybody's doing their ads, and I don't know about you, but I'm getting all these flyers in the mail,
Yes.
and I'm just
Yes.
like, really, people, I've read a few of them, but most of the time when I start seeing it being really nasty, I'm just like, I'm not even going to bother to read the nasty ones. But we're talking about an open door season. And then specifically, I really wanted to start out a little bit with Iran today, and we can move into others. But right now, with what's going on, and negotiations are on, negotiations are off. And as we all know, you can't negotiate with a corrupt system, right? A cannibalistic
Correct.
governmental structure, which is what Islam is, right? It's cannibalistic. It likes to come in and take over, eat up what's there, and then put its own stuff in. And you can't negotiate with that. And but that particular nation, and so America right now, we're in this open door season of there's a door, there's not a door, right? Just like what happened with Mary Beth. The door's open, the door's closed. Maybe I go through this way. And so we really want to encourage you to really start taking time aside to focus in on prayer for the Middle East. There's some interesting behind the scenes negotiations, some things I was reading that I just wanted to bring to your attention. We're not just dealing with the entity behind what's happening in Iran, right, with the people trying to get that nation free. We're also dealing with, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but the majority of our internet is all through cabling, right? That's all
Correct.
undersea cabling, more so than the satellites.
Right.
Well, guess what goes through the straits?
The straits.
The Hormuz
Yeah.
straits,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What do you think goes into, there's one section of the cabling that actually goes right inland into Iran and then back out. So could it be the reason the internet's down? The reason some of these things are going on are both spiritual, both the guise of religion, which again we know is a tyrannical type of a system that's holding the people bondage. But could it also be dealing with the internet cabling? Taking charge of that, because you start cutting that off, all these various nations, especially India, really gets their internet will go out big time if they end up dealing with stuff with the cabling that's in those waters. So open doors for those of you who are internet people. Open doors for those of you who are diplomats. Open doors for those of you who are intercessors. Open doors for those of you who can speak Arabic and maybe begin to be a translator. Open doors in this area of the world right now. It's like the doors are going to start flinging wide open. Are we ready to walk through them?
Oh, that is the part that we can all, most of us will say, yes, this is it. This is a moment. But I also know that with AI, which is a whole nother Sherry, and we're not going to go there, but structures are changing.
Yeah.
Calls of God are changing, assignments are changing across the earth. And there is still a place where God is calling humans, that's us, humans, to go in and to occupy. And I was looking over, Sherry, a prophetic word from October of 2024 that was with some of us as we were praying and asking the Lord what He was doing. And Iran actually came up. That was the country that came up. And the word was start building their future, which what that means is God is about to move in such a way, there's going to be a dismantling. And in the dismantling, who's going to build?
Yeah.
Who's going to go through the open doors? As Sherry and I were preparing, and there's this particular prophetic word talked about the businessmen that are going to be called over into Iran to begin to build forth and create the new structure. If we have a tyrannical government, if that government is coming down, who's going to go in? Who's going to, as Sherry you mentioned, who's going to do education? Who's going to do the IT? Jim Bridenstine, who was with NASA in President Trump's first administration. Thank you, Sherry. Administration. I was in the most profound moments with him as he was speaking to us, and he said it's going to be cyberspace that is going to have the final say, and who is going to protect it? Who is going to be the ones that are going to begin to put the safeguards? And as Sherry was talking about the cables underneath, the strait, there is so much going on that I am continually recognizing that we do not know. And that's a big deal, Sherry.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. We're just saying, blow it up. Just do X, Y, Z. Just do this. We just want it over. We just want everything done, wrapped up in this beautiful box with a bow. But that's not what God's doing through this prophetic lens. It is a season of open doors.
When you have open doors, the fun part is, woohoo, there's an open door, right? And then you walk through the open door. The not so fun part is what happens after you go through the open door.
Yes.
And that is where perseverance is needed, right? That's where discipline is needed. That's where you have to get together with other people and strategize and come up with a team that will work with you. And so there's a saying, there's a friend of mine who operates in high places in the military in Nevada. And I recently heard her speak, and I love this phrase. She said, learn to sweat in peace times so that you bleed less in war times.
Oh, that is so good.
And so this, with an open door season, that's kind of what happens, right? So do your sweating now, get your things in order now. What's God calling you to do? Maybe it's something as simple as you and your husband or wife, or maybe you and your family meet once a week and you guys are praying regarding the Middle East and Iran. Or maybe it's something more complicated, right? Where you are getting government contracts, right? You're getting onto the government website. You've got a company that does cabling, or you've got a company that can go in and train and teach, or pull people in, right? Where are you at in this process? So let's do some sweat equity now, because as we do that, that will help the Iranian people. They are crying out for help. They are crying out for help. They didn't want this regime to come in, and unfortunately, it got voted in because of fake promises, as Islam always does. It gives a face of one thing, but once it comes into power, the true face is shown. And so they've been under oppression for over 70 years. Guys, this is an open door. This is an open door right now in Israel. How many of you know that it's time for the Jewish people to come to know the Lord, just like the Iranians? It's time. So maybe your sweat equity right now is to develop a nonprofit organization to go in and bring food or water, or maybe to do proselytizing, right? Sharing the gospel. Maybe your sweat equity is, I know God's called me to healing, and I'm going to go in and start laying hands on the sick. Maybe that's your open door. So we just really want you to ask in this season of the open door, and especially for your nation and especially for the Middle East, where is your opening to get through? Where is your opening for you to walk through and take advantage of that?
As I'm pondering for you there who's watching, as we're truly just trying to see the open door, I really want to encourage you to shut some doors.
Hmm.
It's time to shut some doors that have caused you torment, some doors that have caused you grief. It might even be doors that were great, wonderful doors, but they're not continuing to provide in this season. I'm going to encourage you, shut the doors where it must be shut. Because the only way we can go through the open door many times is that there is a door shut. And not only that, as we're shutting the doors, we're not rehearsing all the things that have been.
Yeah.
That is a place you get stuck. That is a place that iniquitous structures begin to create that hold people back.
Yeah.
I break those off of you now. I say that you will not continue to be in the past and be in that structure that is holding you back, but that you will turn, go through the open door, and begin to build, begin to create. If you're still breathing air, I'm just saying, if you're breathing air, you're still
Yeah,
here.
come on.
I don't care if you're 90 or 100. I don't care if you're 5 years old. You are called in this generation for such a time as this, the greatest move of God, the greatest day of harvest. And we are ready now to put our hands to the harvest, to begin to say, where is my field and how do I steward this field? And not just sit isolated, not sit, this sounds funny, sucking our thumbs, but rise up now.
Come on.
Come into the grace that God's given us for this movement, and let's see how He's going to bring His kingdom resources. That's you. You're a resource. I'm not just looking at the monetary. I'm saying you are a kingdom resource. And when all the kingdom resource comes together, we will not be short of resources of the monetary to build His kingdom on earth.
Yes, I agree. As she's talking, I think of a line that I read recently. It said, stop bemoaning your loss and step forward.
Step forward.
So we're saying the door's open, step forward. You don't even have to knock on doors, right? I mean, the door is open. You just have to be prepared and just go. It reminds me also, right, when it talks about the difference between those that are, it says, many are called, but few are chosen in the book of Matthew when Jesus was talking within a parable. And one of the visuals is part of saying, yes, I'm chosen, is we walk through the door that's open for us, but then we close that door behind us so that we don't go backwards.
Yes.
That's why only few are chosen. It's not because they're more special than everybody else. It's because they said yes to the open door. They walked through that open door, and then they closed it behind them so that they don't go back again. And so that's where you go from being called to being chosen. So we want to encourage you, walk through the open door. What's the open door in your life right now? Is God presenting something to you individually? Is there an open door in your family? Is there an open door in your city or your state or your nation that you are like, I can do that. I've got some sweat equity already. I can walk through that door. I may not even know once I get on the other side what it's going to be. But if the door's open and it's presented in front of me, and the Lord is saying, go, guys, go. Let's walk through these doors. Let's not be hindered anymore. We encourage you. Step on, get going, walk on through. There should be a song about walking on through. There probably is, but walk on through that door.
We'll make it up. No, not today.
walk through that door. Come on.
Anyway, my goodness.
We want to encourage you, walk through the door.
Absolutely. It's been wonderful to be with you today, and we just want to say goodbye.
Goodbye.